night sky. Its rotting wooden boards, shattered windows, and an air of unnatural stillness gave it a presence that could send chills down anyone's spine. The townspeople of Grensville called it the House That Whispers. Are you sure about this? Ryan asked, his voice shaking slightly despite his attempt to sound brave. David smirked. I bet this, I bet. You lose. You stay with me in the house till dawn. We walk out together at sunrise, and I win. Ryan chuckled nervously. Fine, but if one of us dies, the other keeps the gaming laptop. They laughed, though uneasily, masking the growing fear that crept up their spines. Legend had it that the house was cursed, a place where people vanished, where screams were heard without a source, and where something watched from shadows. They pushed open the rusted iron gate and stepped onto a cracked stone path. The air grew heavier with each step, as if the night itself was warning them to turn back. David, ever the brave one, kicked the door open with a creak that echoed like a death knell. Inside, the air smelled of mold and rot. The walls were stained with something dark, too dark to be dirt. Cobwebs hung from the ceiling like funeral veils, and a cold draft seemed to whisper across their ears. Ryan pulled out his flashlight. Let's stick together. This place is... Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind them. They spun around, flashlight beams searching the empty hallway. Nothing, just the sound of their own breathing and the creaking of the house settling. Probably the wind, David said, though his voice lacked conviction. They explored the house, room by room, finding signs of decay and abandonment, dusty furniture, cracked portraits, a grand piano with blood-red keys. But the real horror began when they entered the main hallway. There, etched in deep scratches on the wall, were the words, "Stay until sunrise" or "Stay forever." Ryan stepped back. What the hell is that supposed to mean? Before David could reply, a loud thud echoed from upstairs. They froze. Then came the sound of footsteps, slow, deliberate, and not their own. "Who's there?" David yelled, shining his flashlight up the staircase. No response. They climbed the stairs together, holding their breath. At the top, the hallway stretched into darkness. Every door was slightly open, as if inviting them in. One door at the far end was wide open with flickering candlelight inside. Compelled by a mix of curiosity and dread, they entered the room. Inside, the walls were covered in mirrors, old, dusty, and all cracked. A wooden chair sat in the middle, facing a large mirror that wasn't cracked at all. It was spotless, pristine, and glowing faintly. Then, something moved inside the mirror. Ryan gasped, "David, there's something behind us." They turned, but the room was empty. The reflection showed two shadowy figures standing behind them, whispering, their mouths moving rapidly with no sound. David lunged at the mirror. Nothing. The shadows didn't react. But suddenly, the glass cracked, and blood began seeping from the fracture. Both friends bolted out of the room, hearts pounding, only to find that the hallway had changed. It no longer led to stairs. The doors were gone. Only darkness remained. "We're trapped," Ryan whispered. A soft, childlike giggle echoed from the darkness. Then the whispering began. "You shouldn't have come. You broke the rules. Now you belong to us." The walls started bleeding. The floor warped beneath their feet. From the shadows emerged figures, dozens of them, pale, eyeless children with stitched mouths. They floated, not walked, and they were coming closer. David grabbed Ryan's arm. "Run." They sprinted through the hallway, but the house twisted around them. Stairs led nowhere. Doors opened into brick walls. Every mirror showed them being torn apart by invisible hands. The house was alive, and it wanted them. Breathless, they found a basement door. It creaked open as if beckoning them. "We got no choice," David said, pulling Ryan down the stairs. The basement was colder than death. Chains hung from the ceiling. Symbols painted in blood adorned the walls. At the center was a circle of bones, with a single candle burning in the middle. As they entered, the candle blew out. Darkness. Then whispers in their ears, sharp as knives. "One of you stays. One of you leaves." Ryan screamed as something grabbed him from the darkness, dragging him toward the circle. David lunged forward, grabbing Ryan's hands, pulling with all his strength. No, I'm not leaving you. But the darkness was stronger. Ryan's eyes filled with tears. Tell my mom I love her, he whispered before vanishing into the black void. David screamed, collapsing in the circle. Silence returned. Then light. He awoke in front of the house. Morning had arrived. The sun was rising. The door behind him was shut. No trace of Ryan. No blood. No shadows. Just birds chirping and wind in the trees. He stumbled back into town, disoriented. When he told people, they shook their heads. There's no Ryan in this town, the old librarian said. Never was. David showed photos. Videos. They were all blank. Ryan's face gone. It was as if he had never existed. 1 year later, David never recovered. Nightmares plagued him. He moved far away from Grensville, but the shadows followed. One night, he found a mirror in his apartment. A crack formed, blood seeped out, and from a mirror, Ryan's voice whispered, "You left me behind.